Now, please continue.
Okay, I forgot where I was now.
You were talking about this with your spirituality and...
I guess it's all making sense. Like with everything that I've been researching, and like YouTube is awesome because like it's allowed me to like learn a lot of things I've always wanted to learn. And then, you know, like I never believed the Bible. I'm a skeptical person, but you know, I've seen things and like I've heard testimonies. I have testimonies of my own, like things that are impossible, like things work out and you don't know how it did, but it did. And you are like, oh my gosh. And then you have to give that up to a higher power, you know, because it's inevitable, you know, and that's like, just this whole course, like I have so much notes and everything, like when I get it all typed out and everything, and like I guess from my lessons and things that I have learned, like I'm inputting it as well. So I told my son, because my son went through the same abuses I did, and like he was 16 when his dad beat the heck out of him and pushed him out, and like he was so scared to like get a hold of me. But you know, it was really hard because I had to trust in a higher power, because you know, to take care of my kids, because I can't always be there, you know. And my kid he's here, he's healthy, he's, you know, he's awesome, like he's hardworking, he's smart. I tell him he's like an old man, like he acts like he's freaking 38 and he hasn't even started his life yet, you know. It's so funny. And so like this course is like, I told him too, like when I'm done like typing all my notes out, like I want to share it with everybody, because like I have a lot of insight on all of this. It's helped me help with my anxiety disorder. I developed like different phobias, like fear of heights and spiders, and like just crazy stuff, like, and like with like I guess just life and trying to push myself past my comfort zone has helped me grow so much, and like helped me realize like that we could be prisoners of our own mind, and that like we can allow it to control us so much and not even be aware of it. And through these kind of courses, that, you know, it's a prayer answered. You know, I told God, like, I know you got a purpose for me, and just show me the way, and here I am. So, you know, hopefully gaining knowledge and being able to put the puzzles and pieces together that other people will be able to like understand and be able to help themselves, because ultimately that's what we have to do to change. Is we have to save ourselves. You know, we can't wait for anybody to come and tell us a magic quote or anything. It's a journey, you know. And like I never understood what, you know, the Bible said about the way is hard and narrow, you know, the right way, and then the easy way is like wide and easy. So like I guess the way I discern that is like the hard and narrow path is CrossFit, and then the wide and easy path is make up all these excuses why I can't go, and you know, and like I'm gonna stay home and relax, you know. Like, so that's, you know, like that's how I would explain my journey so far. And you know, just to be able to give back, because that's what our Addict to Athlete program is we're helping other people, like not just addicts but families of addicts, you know, because they suffer too. Like when we got sober and my grandpa still drank, like it bothered me, you know, like hard. And I understood then like that, you know, we're only controlling ourselves, and we like just us leading by example and like slowing down and then not doing it eventually has helped him too. And like we're helping, trying to get people motivated that, you know, it's a hard journey, but it is possible, you know. And that's why I really appreciate this program and to be a part of it, and to, you know, hopefully be able to share all my notes, because I got like so much notes, like it's awesome. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing. You know what I really liked about with what you said is how, you know, we just covered not too long, not last week, but the week before, the spirituality component. And I think sometimes when we look at spirituality in our lives, we kind of reflect on this broader concept of what spirituality should look like. So to make that individual, but it's, you can see where it's a total part of who we are. It's that total balance that we need to have to make us effective in our communities. So thank you for sharing that. I'm really glad that you did, because today we're just going to kind of review how the last 3 modules have gone. You know, share some of your experiences, share any of your questions. But also I wanted to make sure that everybody that's on our call right now has filled out the pre-survey for the course. That's really important. Flo, I know you said you did that yesterday, right?
No, I did it like when I finally got onto the
Perfect.
Canvas, and I just started checking off the
Perfect.
list. So,
Perfect. So if you have not had an opportunity to do that, please make sure that you do that. That's vital for the program itself to get that initial survey done. And then let's just kind of open it up for your experiences within the 3 different modules. So we've gone over of course, spiritual health. It's not called spiritual health, but that's the term I always go by. So we've gone over emotional health, spiritual health. Oh, it is. We've also talked about our first steps in our project, but then we've also done the occupational health. So let's just go ahead and go through and share what your experiences have been so far with the Master Health Volunteer. What kind of challenges have you faced with it? And let's talk about, and so this feedback is really good especially for Claire. I'm going to put Claire on the spot. Claire is such a key part to this program. And so our feedback is really, really important. So that's why it's important to fill out those surveys. I know sometimes there's not enough room for us to put everything we want to put. Or if you're like me, there's too much room for my 3-worded sentence. So it's a good opportunity now to just kind of share a little bit about how the program's been going so far. And then we're going to go over and we're going to talk about our volunteer projects. So go ahead, take it away. So I've had to, let's see. So Vodney, I muted you per request. Just so you guys know, I just didn't mute her. She was having a hard time finding the mute on her phone. So I'm going to try to see if I can get her unmuted so she can share also. But go ahead and let's just go ahead and share what our thoughts have been so far.
I could just go on for days. I have like so much, like, just all of this has been so helpful and in helping me understand like myself and like where I'm at in my recovery right now, because I've been hitting so many plateaus where I'm like, okay, well, this ain't working no more. I need to do something else. And I have like tons of hobbies already. That's why I said YouTube's awesome. Now I'm, you know, renovating house and everything. Jeez. I guess in the spiritual thing, that's as far as I made it. The problem I'm having is like I want to write everything down and like because that's how like I imprint it in my brain. But like one thing that like I just saw was, you know, that that one the video, What Makes Life Meaningful. And that was pretty awesome. Talking about like our emotional connections and life events, lessons learned through life events, the dynamics of our own mind and how it connects to our emotions. And then when we feel connection, like to the Holy Spirit, which was crazy because, like, I talked to my son about that because we went for a walk, um, which was a part of this spiritual thing, was going outdoors and, you know, reconnecting. So we were walking and we were talking about that, like when the Holy Spirit was released, you know, was it when Jesus was crucified and then when he passed, or was it, you know, later on? So he said it was during the Pentecost when Paul and them, they were all praying, having that prayer meeting, and then praying and praying and praying. And then the spirit, that fire came and it consumed them. And, you know, that's when the helper was released, because they believed and they knew in their heart of hearts that he was real, and that, you know, we did have help and stuff. And so that was awesome. Like I'm so lucky that I could have discussions like that with my kid. I mean, he's only 22, but he was in the church probably when he was around 16, and he's just been in the church. And like right now he's young and he's a musician. He's got all these connections now, and like he was in a spot where he was like hopeless and, you know, all this and that. And now like just being able to help him, and like me too also find my purpose as well. And like um being able to understand the intergenerational trauma that natives have gone through, and to be able to break the barriers when it comes to, you know, our minds, and how to answer these questions. Because a lot of, you know, like I know that I used to be, you know, an atheist and, you know, not really understand or believe, and, you know, just one-sided that, you know, Christianity was evil and they destroyed our culture and who we are, you know. And that's not what it is, you know. And that we have to, you know, really see to the heart of why people do bad things. And it's not, you know, one thing that I came to understand is God don't test us. He's the one standing next to us, helping us figure out how we're going to get through this bad moment in our life, you know. And to be able to give us that strength that when we take this leap, that no matter what happens, it's gonna turn out the way it's meant to, for the best, you know. And so, you know, I guess the longevity part of the purpose too, that, you know, maybe through this program I'll be able to give some kind of purpose back to our youth, you know, because they're the future, you know. Like my age group, we've, you know, this is our chance to really step up and, you know, be that change that we want to see. And like the longevity of people who are hopeless, like they don't live long. Like a lot of the youth in Toyak, they're all dying. And it's not because of COVID, it's because of alcohol, you know. And like watching that movie Indian Horse, oh man, like I totally could relate to all of that, you know. Um and a question too is like, does meaning matter? And like with natives, it does, like, because, you know, our meaning was stripped from us, you know. And like we don't have anything. So that's why I feel like my spirituality has helped me stay grounded and reconnected, because like I pray to the ancestors too, to like learn the old songs, you know. And like, and another thing too was go and take a picture of something meaningful to you. And one thing that like right away, because I take pictures of everything. So right away it was like I have this little pineapple, and like I grew it from a pineapple. I cut the top, like we were gonna eat the pineapple. So I, just threw in a cup, like, oh, I'm gonna see if it'll grow, because like I've grown carrots, celery, and all that, but they've all died because I didn't repot them. But my pineapple's still alive in a little cup of water, and it's really, growing ears and stuff. So that's another thing with the spirituality was, the difference between purpose and meaning. Purpose was having and reaching objects, like our goals in our lives, and that we're going to help others, stuff like that. And then meaning, like, related to the place and function we have on earth. What is our meaning, not our purpose. Like, we know why we're here, but like our meaning, like giving back to the community. And so that's a part of the spirituality that I just wanted to share, that I thought that you know was awesome, because that's a question that I hear a lot, because I'm part of the PTSD anxiety groups on Facebook. So like I love giving, advice back to people on how I get through, because it's hard, man. It's hard. I tell everybody it's like I'm running 100K every day, just getting up without medication, without, any kind of, mind altering thing, and trying to push through, even driving, even leaving my house. Like, I gotta go doctor's appointment, I gotta do this and that, and it's hard. It's so hard. Like, and if I start overwhelming myself, I will shut down and I will not do nothing that day. And then it's just horrible. Like, it's a horrible cycle. So like that's why I start exercising. That's why I got into CrossFit. That's why it's for me, because I have anger issues and just a lot to process with. And that's why I appreciate this program too. And like I said, when I get all my notes and everything like typed out, I will like email it to everybody. So if you want like some of what I've already typed out, like just send me your email and I will send it to you, because this is pretty much like a guidebook for helping me to write my own coping guide for people, like, through my experiences and like what I hear from other people. Because like ever since I've started overcoming my barriers, and overcoming things that I like, things that were hard for me to, like, I've actually like met a lot of great people, like people who you would never think had a past, and like turned it around and are very inspiring, and like our coach for Addict to Athlete, he's like really in your face. He don't have no personal bubble, and like, so he likes to violate your personal bubble, and I'm like, don't touch me, like still there, like real quiet. But he's helped me overcome that, to not be so, like, hello, like behind my little fence. And just things like that. Like, I find meaning with my relationships with other people, and like you guys. And so that's why I like, sharing, because I mean, in a way, maybe it'll help you guys. Maybe, something I've said is gonna spark that passion, like, yes, I can make it through. Because we can, don't be afraid to share.
I'm very inspired. I am totally going to exercise today, and I really appreciate you sharing.
Yes, thank you for sharing. So who would have ever really in reality thought that this program could do what it's doing, right? So if anything, I want to encourage everybody. This doesn't have to be the only group of tribal members or Indigenous people that go through the Master Health Volunteer Program. we can always get another cohort going and another group of individuals, especially when we can see how this helps in the whole aspect of who you are. All right, anybody else would like to share their past, how things have been going with the modules they've been working through?
Michelle? I like the little test that you take, like the personality test and all of that stuff. I like taking those tests just to see what it's going to say and whether or not I agree with it. I kind of am like flow because I do a lot of writing too, and I just kind of put asterisks by the stuff that I kind of connected to. So like when we were doing the square breathing, I really liked that exercise. And then I wished I could journal, but I'm just too impatient my mind goes, and then I don't write fast enough, and my shorthand's not fast enough to keep up with my mind. So then I get discouraged, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's not for me. On that video, the one that was talking about positive emotions open our mind. So when she said the openness of our minds and hearts obey the warmth of positivity. I like that because that kind of spoke to me too, because I kind of think that way. The more you're open, the more positive you receive. And so everybody, I always say, don't put negativity out there. Always look at it positive, because what you put out, you bring back. So, but I really like this too. Chris and I were talking about this yesterday, and we were saying this would be awesome if we could. We're talking about our building, and I was asking him if he'd been over there to look at it recently, and we have all those rooms upstairs, and we were talking about having classes once we could gather again, and how powerful we think that this would be for our communities, because they need it.
I totally agree. I love how, and you guys have heard me say this before, is how this is all about getting you in a place to be able to help your communities. I think that's one of the key components that we miss in a lot of things. We want to help people, we want to do things, we want to make changes, but in our own selves, are we in a place to be able to do that effectively, and do it productively in a way that's going to help everybody around us? So this program, I'm really thankful that you guys are bringing these things out, talking about these things, because it's important for Claire and for feedback, for the people who develop this program to know that these are, it's work, it's helping. And I think especially within our Indigenous communities, it's like, in all communities really, that ability to heal yourself, to work on yourself, puts you in a place to be more effective in what you're doing to help serve your community. So this program has been absolutely amazing, and we've only gone through the first 3 modules. We still have more to go through. So thank you for sharing that, Sandy. Anybody else? And Vodney, I haven't figured out how to unmute you on my end. All I'll do is send a request for you to unmute yourself. Sorry. What about the occupational health? How many of you guys, did you guys all have an opportunity to finish that occupational health module? That one was a little bit longer. Sandy, what was your thoughts on that occupational health?
I was looking at my notes, and I don't really have any. It's like, that was hard. And,
I think with the occupational health, because I was looking over the different modules last night and stuff, and when we look at occupation, I think sometimes we can get these kind of like along the lines with our spirituality concepts. But when we start looking at occupation, I think we have such a different, such a like a different view on when we look at occupation. It's like, this is your duty to be in an occupation, or this is your duty to do, this definition of what a job is, right? And so I think it's kind of difficult for some people to really reframe what occupational health looks like. And that's what I like about the program itself, is it helps us reframe and define these things through our own perceptions, not just these overall large concepts or boxes that we think everything needs to fit into. So I know some of us may not have finished that occupational health. And so that is totally fine. That's the one thing I wanted to get out there also, is if you have not finished, if you're not up where we're at, that's 100% okay. This is mostly just to help you along the way. If we need to do an extra group on a specific module, please let me know. We can do that. We can arrange that. We can even do it on a separate day. But the occupational health is a little bit longer. And so it really helps us really stop and look at our jobs and what we do and the attitudes that we bring to the work that we do, whether the work is in home, in an office, out in the community. And plus, even like with everything that's going on now, right, that's changed a lot of the way our jobs look, our occupations look. I know for me, it was a real challenge because I was going to my different tribes and I'm a community in-person type of person. And so that was a real challenge for me to do things via Zoom and not to have that personal connection. So there was a time when I became so those of you who know me really well, I'm a very stubborn person. And I'm just like, my stubbornness kicked in like you would not believe. And so it's like, I really had to reassess some of my attitudes. But like Flo had pointed out, and this program really focuses on, is this is about our own attitudes, our own perceptions, our own stuff, our stuff, not everybody else's stuff, but ours. And so occupational health is really important. We need to have excitement about the jobs that we do. We need to, if we're not excited by the work that we do, then we need to reframe that. And then we also need to ask ourselves, maybe this isn't the field I need to be in. Now, I'm not encouraging anybody to be like, I need to quit, but really ask yourselves, do what's going to fulfill you. And, it's not just about fitting into a box and bringing home a paycheck. I know it helps alleviate, our paychecks help alleviate a lot of stressors, right? But we also need to be able to love the work that we do. But then if we're stuck in a job that we're not particularly happy about, what can we do to reframe that and make it work? Make it so we are invested in what we do, not just that, oh geez, here I am, here we go again. Wake up in the morning. I won't swear because I have a tendency to swear. Wake up in the morning, be the same crap every day. So, it's about that reframing, right? So really take that time to go through that occupational health, even though it is longer, and give feedback on that.
I like to use positive affirmations. Because I never used to be a positive person, and that became one of my affirmations. I am positive. And I was like, no, I'm not. I am not positive. No, I am not. And now I am. I'm more aware of it when I'm being negative. It helped me be more aware of when I'm being negative Nelly. And I'm like, oh no, I'm ugly. So
and Sandy kind of mentioned that too when she was talking about put positive out there, you bring positive in. Another way to look at that is being solution focused. We can always point out what is wrong and how things are not working. But what we need to do is we need to reframe, and you guys are going to hear me use this term a lot. We need to reframe and be solution focused. We already know it's not working. We don't have to beat it up because we already know. But now what can we do to change? What can we do to be solution focused? And sometimes that even means revisiting old ideas that may not have been successful at one point
Sandy,
in time, they may be successful
Sandy.
at this point in time. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, what? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, my bad. No, go ahead, finish.
No, you have something that you need to say, so say it.
Well, so the occupational health, right? So, and then I want to say something about what you said earlier about us, you know, if we're gonna help someone, that, you know, like, are we helping ourselves too? You know, are we okay, right? And I think that for me personally, on that note, what you mentioned, I think that for me, you know, you know, are we really, when we think about it, well, when I think about it for myself, it's like a constant, you know, I got to constantly, like make sure, you know, there's always something there to make sure that I'm okay, right? Because like every day, you know, we go through something's there, you know, and not everybody is like, so like, everybody is kind of different in their own, everybody's unique in their own way, but there's people that I feel like are in the same ballpark. And what I mean by that is like people that have had a substance abuse problem, or someone that has had been someone that's been not had a substance abuse problem, but been with somebody that has had that problem, and they go through an emotional problem because of that person or whatever. So different ballparks, right? So people are gonna work on themselves, I guess, differently in some ways, but for me, the occupational health is, you know, I go to, what's helped me, that's been my support is, I go to sweat lodges, or I go peyote meetings, and I attend these ceremonies that help me in my efforts to make sure that I'm okay for myself. Because when the individuals that, since I've been working here at the Painted Horse, you know, I've had a plethora of different people coming from all different backgrounds, because not everybody's story, a lot of people's are, but not everybody's story is coming from a substance abuse or a recovery uh, situation, right? Some people have had a good home and a good mother and stuff like that, and they suffer from other things outside of substance abuse and stuff. They suffer from maybe a bad marriage or a bad relationship, whether it be an intimate relationship, whether it be a family relationship, work relationship, something, and they're suffering, and those things bother people too. So when they come to work out with me here at the Painted Horse, you know, they would come, and at first we would just, you know, work out and stuff like that, and then slowly, as they got more comfortable, I feel like they started talking to me, and then, you know, we would go through the workouts, we would get the good workout stuff, but we would talk about things, and maybe sometimes after the workout was over, while we were stretching or just cooling down, the conversation would get a little bit deeper, and, you know, it would just be talking about things. We'd go and then you could tell, like, from the time they walked into the gym, and started the workout, and when the time they left, their whole demeanor changed, right? From the time they walked in to the time they left, right? And so a lot of ways, you know, we're sitting there getting a good workout, they're getting better, and they're releasing some of that stress mentally, emotionally, and maybe even, you know, spiritually, but emotionally and physically, they're releasing stress from their body while they're working out and while they're talking to me about, or we're just going over whatever might be troubling them. Like I said, whether it be at work, whether it be whatever, whether maybe it might even be a recovery problem they're struggling with. Maybe they want to use again, but, you know, and other things are pulling at them, grabbing at them, right? So and then in that turn, you know, they come here and they feel good and they leave, you know, because I've never had anybody come to this gym and when they've got done working out saying, God, I wished I would have never came in here. You know, I've never had anybody say that to me, right? No one's ever said that to me, right? And they always say thank you, and even if it's just a little bit better, they feel a little bit better, they leave and they go home to their loved ones or whoever it is they're going home to, right? Wherever they're going, they're feeling a little bit better from the time they walked in. So And so that's why I feel like, you know, a lot of times I'll just go to sweat and pray for these people too every week, you know, or every other week when I get to that sweat. You know, I think about all the people that have came here during the week, or have came here during the 2 weeks maybe, and then I'll think about those people. And when I'm in the sweat lodge, you know, I'm using the cedar or any of the herbs, the sacred herbs that we use inside there. I use those things, and or songs, whatever, you know, I'm praying, and I pray for those people, right? And then whatever is left here in this building, or left on me, whatever I took from them that made them feel good, that we took it off them while they were here. That's why I kind of look at it like that, right? So occupational health, you know what I mean? For me, that is the ceremonies that we're able to attend or go see here. So, you know, I mean, in this program that I see a lot of good things with everything here, and it could, you know, us, you know, me, all of us that grew up here on this reservation, right, that are part of whatever village we grew up in, right? I mean, community, whatever community or village, whatever you want to call it, we grew up in, right? We know the people, and we know the relatives that live in White Rocks. We know the relatives that live in Bridgeland, Duchesne, Ouray, Ranelette, you know, Sunshine, Fort Duchesne. We all know the relatives, even though we grew up in a certain little village. We all know the relatives here, right? So we know, and being Flo and I, and Flo's husband being a part of that scene where, you know, there's a lot of drug use and drinking going on. You know, we know a lot of people that are suffering still, right? And so, and this program, the way they talk about things, they bring a lot of things out, right? They kind of, you know, get past a lot of things in this program. I see that they dig deep, right? And there's layers, you know, why, really why? You know, you say this, but really what's into it, right? And me and you talked the other day, Michelle, and you know, and we talked about a few things. And so, you know, I see how this program can really help people if they just really let themselves understand why, get right to the bottom of it, right? But at the same time, that's a very delicate situation too for a lot of people, right? But I think that if people can learn to trust themselves and trust this program, and I think it'll really beneficial to a lot of people that are suffering from whatever it is, recovery, a bad relationship, anything it is. This program, you know, can only help, along with like Flo and her husband. You know, I really appreciate them, right? Because they've done a lot. They've came a long way, you know. And like I said, we all know each other. We all know where we've been, what we've been doing, what we've done, right? But that doesn't define us, right? She's not her past, neither is he, and neither am I, right? We are not our past, but our past has helped us get to where we're at right now, right? That has what is the thing. And I think that, you know, having them turn their lives around, I mean, that's something that is just incredible. Being where we was at and how we were acting and how we were taking care of ourselves to be where we're at now is just amazing, right? To me, it is like that. And then there's other people out there that do want to have that sobriety, that soberness, you know, that whatever it is they're looking for outside of being that. And I think this program is going to be very helpful. And like you said, like like this group right here, later on, there could be different like people in White Rocks, Mighton, Ranelette, you know, that do this program and have people come together as we are here and go over this program, you know, and it'll just be like organic, you know, like be organic, like the pineapple that Miss Flo was talking about, you know, it just grows, you know what I mean? And it's gonna be like that, right? And you look and all of a sudden, you know, like she said, she looked and it's still growing in the water. You know, these programs could go to the community and then pretty soon it's just organic. It just grows. So I think that, but the occupational health, I mean, I think everybody could probably define theirs differently. How it is, like mine is, like I said, like, you know, going to the lodges and praying for the program, praying for the people that work here, and praying for the people that come to this program to get help, you know, to help themselves get better. All those things I do, you know, so that's And then someone else might go to, say, the LDS church, or someone might meditate, occupational health, whatever it is. There's different areas. I know Flo talked about her son going to the church and getting his spiritual fulfillment from that, or whatever else he does and stuff. So I think things like this, like Flo, her husband, me, other people that are out there, the things that we use, like she said that she felt kind of stagnant at one point, with her sobriety, and then she found exercise, she found CrossFit, and now that's that taken her to another level. And I think with that, as like for me, I mean, it's part of my recovery too. It's part of my program that I do to help myself, right? And then at the same time, I get to help people too. And it's more than that. It's like an emotional connection, emotional and a lot of emotion and identity, right? We want to help our people get better, right? And so that's what my thing is, and what do I get out of it? We talked about that the other day. What do I get out of it? And it's the emotional connection that I have to my people, the passion I have for my people. That's where I'm at with it. I think as far as I'm concerned, that's where I'm at with it. And everybody has their own way. We all have a lot of opportunity, no matter who we are, as human beings. I'm having this experience as a Ute Indian, right? Someone else might be having it as a Chinese person, or maybe an African in South Africa, but we're all human, right? And in a lot of ways, no matter what, we all have an opportunity to do something good for ourselves. We have the responsibility of taking care of ourselves. We talked about that yesterday, me and Cassandra. We all have a responsibility to take care of ourselves, and that's true. We all do, right? And sometimes people just need that little push, just a little push, to get there, right? And that's where I come in. That's where Flo comes in. That's where Michelle comes in, and that's where Sandy comes in. Because Sandy gives us the opportunity to. She's given me the opportunity to use my skill set to help people care for themselves through prevention, right? So that's a good thing. So, and then Flo's using her skill set to reach people and get networking and use CrossFit and all this other stuff that she has available to her. The resources she has available to her, she's using those resources to help herself not only, but also helping other people. And that's what I think in the end, I mean, we want our community to be receptive to these things. But I realize too that it takes time. Some people, they don't want to. They're like, hey, that's a soft spot. You start touching a soft spot when this program starts digging into the layers and it gets a little deep on them, and they're like, whoa, hey, put your guns away. You know what I mean? We don't want to, you're big, and it hurts something. That it's because there's underlying issues. But at the same time, I again, as Flo said, I appreciate this program, and I think. Once we get going and we go through the modules and we graduate and we get our graduation gift from Michelle and everybody and a dinner, then we'll be good. Thank you, though.
Thank you, Chris. One thing, we're at the end of our time, but one thing I really wanted to point out, we didn't have a chance to kind of go over our volunteer projects, but something Chris pointed out I want you to think about. When we do any sort of volunteer project within our community, or when we engage in any sort of, presentation or guidance, or, if we're if we're modeling healthy behavior, healthy coping skills, we need to remember that we are asking people often to go to a very vulnerable place. And so that is why I posted this link on the difference between empathy and sympathy. It's really important that we need to understand that. Sometimes we had this conversation yesterday, sometimes we have a tendency wanting to solve a person's problem, when in reality, what we need to do is just to be able to sit with them in that dark place. And that's so understanding what empathy and sympathy is, but also that's going to help you when you start thinking about these projects, these community projects that you're wanting to do. We talked about the closet, the community closet where people could come and get free clothing items. That takes a level of humbleness to admit that you don't have the funds to get what you need to go participate in a program like that, right? Native people are very proud. A lot of people are very proud. And so understand when you're looking and exploring those, where you want your community project to happen, how you want it to happen, think about your reason why you want it to happen, your own personal reason. Also, think about how you're going to get those people in the community to invest. But also be aware that we're dealing with vulnerable populations. Now, vulnerable populations basically is everybody. We all have something. And remember that it takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of personal strength to go to those places that we're very vulnerable. And sometimes we ask people to go to those vulnerable places without really realizing this is a vulnerable place for them. So on that note, be thinking about your project, okay? Keep on working through your modules. We are not, so next week is Turkey Day. For those of you who celebrate the turkey, or if you celebrate Thanksgiving, however you choose to celebrate that holiday, don't eat too much. Be safe. Don't be out there shopping, doing all that crazy stuff, right? But work on your modules when you have some time. Yes, wear your masks. If you have questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me. If you need to sit down, and if you want to sit down and talk with me, we can sit down and talk. If you want to, if we want to hold a group, let's say you guys decide, like on our Facebook page, that you would like to meet, drop me a note. I can get a Zoom meeting going, and we can get the link on the page. This is to help you guys make it through this program. I'm not saying, and nobody feels that you would not be able to make it through on your own, but being able to connect and being able to talk about this is what's going to make this program more powerful and more impactful in what we do. So be thinking about your service projects. Throw your ideas on our Facebook page, on our group page, and let's keep on connecting. Yes, Shay, so no meeting next week. I gave you guys a whole week of that holiday off. I don't know how everybody's plans are gonna go. So, but if you need a meeting or if you want to discuss anything, just drop a note on our Facebook page, and I can get something set up. So thank you guys for your time. Make sure you do fill out your pre-survey. It is important that, because this program is through USU, that we do have to do a background check. The background check is simply because we are dealing with people, other populations, when I talked about the vulnerable populations. As far as I know, the background check is not like one of those crazy I shouldn't say crazy. Isn't one of those really in-depth things that you should be overly worried about. I do know that if you have some questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me, or Claire can answer those questions also. But it is important that when we do a service project in our communities, we do have to fill that out. So on that note, you guys have a good weekend. Thank you all for coming, and I'll see you.
Oh, Michelle.
Yes.
On that background check, I think it just asks for your driver's license and then what state.
Okay.
And that's probably the only thing other than your regular information.
As long as it's not a credit check.
Okay.
All right, we will see you guys. No meeting next week, and I'll also put a reminder on Facebook. Thank you guys.